Hello, everyone. My name is JT, the Talking Head. You are the audience, and you are listening to episode 6 of the Masters of Matinee podcast, a collaborative show between content creators who all share a great love for cinema and a passion for physical media. Our co hosts today are Drooby Doopy Movie and Teo the Terminurtle. Join us as we discuss our recommendations in the pickup list for the current July sales from Criterion and Arrow Video. The Masters of Matinee would like to remind you to please silence all cell phones and do enjoy the show. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? I am joined tonight by Drooby Dooby Movie
Yes.
and Teo the Terminurtle.
How
are you boys doing?
I'm good. I cannot complain.
Doing great.
All right, before we get started, I've made this my life goal. I've got to ask Drew what's a good movie that you saw in theaters recently? Just one since the last time we've talked. We go like 3 times a week.
Yes, dude. I would say out of everything, probably Joyride. Joyride was amazing, dude. It's a amazing comedy. It was a lot of fun. Theater was laughing damn near the whole time. Had a good message in it too, I thought. So, and it did feel really kind of early 2000-ish. Like it was very raunchy, and like the ending was one of those endings where it's so unrealistically like awkward and like what's that? But it's like secondhand embarrassment kind of type shit. Like they used to do that all the time, but it was really good. I enjoyed it.
That's dope. I kind of want to see that, but there's just so many movies. And we discussed this in the episode that premiered today as we're recording this, that I live very far away from a movie theater. So it's hard for me to get out. So I will add that to the list to come out once it hits the Blu-rays. Teo, have you seen anything interesting lately?
Man, I have had such a packed schedule lately. The last thing I went to go see was the most recent, like Indiana Jones. And I gotta say, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot more than the majority of people did.
Yeah, I watched that one too, and I enjoyed it as well. I thought it was really cool. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Far out. Yeah, I think that's probably what, like, especially with Drew, what I'm going to start asking him every time we start a new episode is because, like, I don't know if you listen, Teo, to today's episode, but he goes to the theater like 3-4 times a week. This man's a connoisseur of the cinema experience.
Yeah, I'm like surrounded by theater, so I gotta make good use of them.
Would you say that you watch more movies in the theater than you do on physical media?
No. I mean, just the other day I had a day off and I wasn't feeling too well, like I told you, JT. So I was like kind of like bedridden. So I watched 4 movies last night, or on Sunday. It was, and all 4 physical media. I hardly get on like Hulu or anything anymore unless it's like live sports or anything.
Very nice. Well, we do have a topic of discussion for today. We are going to talk about the Criterion Collection because it is currently the month of July, and Barnes & Noble is running their 50% off sale of everything in the Criterion Collection. This is like Passover for physical media collectors. It's a religious holiday for us. So we all have a list of things that we're going to pick up, or things that we've already picked up. I'll be the first to say I have not made the voyage to the B&N yet, so I have not picked anything up. But I do have a list of things that I want to grab. So I'm going to let you guys go first. Let's start with Drew. What have you grabbed so far this month? And if anything else, what are you planning on grabbing? What's on your list?
So I have made the trip, and I got a handful of things. I got Paris, Texas, which I've been dying to get. I've heard lots of good things about that movie.
That's when.
And then I got, yeah, I believe so. Yeah, and then I got the 4K of Thelma and Louise, which I feel like a lot of people are snagging, and for good reasons. I heard it's a great transfer, and it's an amazing movie, and I love Ridley Scott. And then another one that I got was La Haine, which I highly suggest. I watched that recently, and it was an amazing movie. It's one of those movies that's, to me, a piece of art. Like, all movies are art for sure, but I feel like some speak in the form of art and in the form of movies itself, and this is one of those movies, so I highly suggest that. But yeah, those are the new pickups I got, and then I think I'm gonna go back later at the end of this month and get Petite Maman. I just watched that at my friend's house. She has the Criterion, and it is beautiful. That movie was amazing, and it's one of the better looking, like just in clarity. Like it's so clear, it's wild. And it's one of those movies where it's not a lot of music, so it's like you hear the leaves crackle, you hear people putting on their clothes, you hear them creaking through the floors. It's very realistic. So I loved it. So I think I'm gonna go pick that up. But that's all I'm gonna keep myself to this time.
Nice. Yeah, Thelma and Louise, that's gonna be on my list as well. That I think is gonna be it's one of those Criterion titles. Every now and again they'll release something that's like super mainstream that like everybody knows. Your grandmother knows Thelma and Louise. So Teo, I know you've already picked up a few, and you've talked about going back to the well for some more. So you have discovered. Let's preface
Yeah.
this by saying Teo is a new Criterion collector, and
Brand new.
we talk about this on an upcoming episode. So some of this information is going to be a repeat later on, but this will air before that episode that's already been pre-recorded. It's a little bit of a jumbled mess right now, but I wanted to talk about Criterion for this sale, and I wanted to get Teo's take on this as a new collector. So, Teo, I do want to ask you, what was it? I know that you don't collect for label; you just collect for movie. And if it happens to be Criterion, if Criterion's the one that puts out the most great packaging and bonus features and stuff, that's what you'll go with, and that's understandable. But what are you thinking? Like, how are you feeling now that you have gone to B&N and you've seen the hype? You've been exposed to the hype of the Criterion Collection. What are you thinking of it right now?
Yeah, well, so I should say that prior to this, I only had one Criterion in my collection, and that was Boyhood. But me and my wife, we really like going to Barnes and Noble, particularly to buy records, which are typically right next to the Criterions. Which meant that the past couple of years I've gone and been like, oh, these look cool. They're also extremely pricey. And so there were a ton of cases where it's like, well, I do want to watch this film, like, or this is a movie that I understand is like really big, like it's a really, it's a really popular, it's a very cultural type of movie, but I could just pick up that kind of standard Blu-ray. So when I heard that Criterion was going to be doing this, it gave me that opportunity to kind of like indulge and kind of get a chance to check out what Criterions are and what they have to offer. And I'm pumped. So I have gone twice and I've purchased 12.
Yes, we love it.
Going
he's
crazy.
He's been sucked in.
We love it. Yes.
Yeah.
Hook, line, and sinker.
And I definitely plan to go back at least one more time, if not two. Nice. But I do know that they are doing this in July, and then they're doing it again in November. And I do think there are a couple of titles that like I don't have to like grab this. So I may kind of push it off. And then come back in 3 months, I think. And yeah.
So what have you picked up already? Just kind of briefly go over the list here.
Yeah, so I picked up Marriage Story. I picked up Arsenic and Old Lace. I picked up Parasite. I picked up Thelma and Louise. I picked up Silence of the Lambs. I picked up Seven Samurai. I picked up Mulholland Drive. And then I picked up Bottle Rocket. I picked up Hotel du Nord. And I picked up The Island of Lost Souls. And I have a list of about 12 more that I want to go and pick up.
Nice.
Can we hear the list?
Yes. So the list is so I want to get the entire Wes Anderson collection.
Yes.
Because I do a weekly movie club. We are called the Tarantine Bros, and the reason we are called that is because we began it by doing the entire Tarantino catalog. So we're about to dive into Wes Anderson. So I want to pick up all of his films on Criterion, which I think he has 5 titles.
You guys are gonna
Um,
change your name to the Wes Andersons, huh?
we'll be like Tarantine Bros. Rise of the Wes Anderson. Fun, yeah.
Nice.
And then besides those, so those are like 5 different titles, and then there is Blue Velvet, which was recommended by JT, Wally, Rashomon, Citizen Kane was on here, but I watched a couple of people talk about how that movie was packaged, and so now I'm kind of like, I don't know if I want to pick that one up, because they did something very unique with the Criterion packaging.
But I like it. I
Uh,
like that packaging a lot.
yeah,
Yeah, it's nice. Like it's a little weird. It's funky, but it's nice.
yeah. And then one more movie that you recommended, the Seventh Seal, which I want to check out. There is a Cary Grant movie called Only Angels Can Fly. I want to pick up Raging Bull, True Stories, which is a thing, which I think is another one that you recommended. Marilyn Monroe, Some Like It Hot. And then just to a few recommendations I just picked up from Drew, Paris, Texas. And then I don't remember if you had said this one, but I want to pick up Pan's Labyrinth.
Yes, I want to get that one too.
And that is the whole list.
I have the Pan's Labyrinth blue from them, and it's great. Drew, I want to know what got you kind of into collecting Criterion, and how long have you collected them for?
I'd say I've probably been collecting them for almost a year now. I kind of got into them decently early on into my collecting phase. I saw them at Half Price Books, and I was like, "What are these?" It was in its own like section too, so it's like these like what is going on here? Why aren't these with the others? So I like saw them at Half Price Books, and I looked them up, and I was like, "Oh, this is like really cool what they're doing." And at the time, I hadn't seen a lot of older movies, and they carry a lot of older movies, and I hadn't seen a lot of foreign movies. They carry a lot of foreign movies, so and that's what kind of really I like dove into it, and so I've kind of been sold on it ever since. But I think my first Criterion was a Wes Anderson, and I think that's what really got me. Because then you got one Wes Anderson, it's like, oh, they got like almost all the Wes Anderson, so I would like to have that. So that's what happened. I picked those up, and then it kind of just took off from there.
So Wes Anderson is going to be a recurring theme in this. I think we should call this little group here the Wes Andersons, because my pickup list for this year or for this month is almost entirely curated on Wes Anderson. Um, so I definitely want to get Thelma and Louise. That's like the number one thing on my list. Just because it's Thelma and Louise. I love the movie, and then Criterion doing it in 4K is epic. But I own from Wes Anderson. I own Grand Budapest, Fantastic Mr. Fox, and Royal Tenenbaums. So I'm gonna try to pick up Moonrise Kingdom, Rushmore, the Darjeeling Limited, and Bottle Rocket. And then if BNN also has a Blu-ray copy of The French Dispatch, then I'll probably pick that up as well, even though that's not Criterion. But I'm sure my Barnes and Noble probably has it laying around for like $10.
Yeah.
Um, so
You should definitely pick up that from Best Buy because it is currently going for $7.
Oh, nice.
yeah, nice. It might also be on a Prime Day sale when as we're recording this. It is currently Prime Day, so I might look on there and see if they have it as well for a decent price too. But yeah, those Wes Anderson flicks, man, those are like the biggest thing that I've had on my list for a long time, and I've slowly picked some of them up. Like every sale, I'll get like one, but I'm to the
Yeah.
point to where I'm like, Wes Anderson's filmography is not like that deep. He's only got like what 9, 10 movies or something like that, and
Yeah.
I think 12. Yeah.
Yeah, well, like with Asteroid City out, like it's going to be coming to Blu-ray sooner than rather than later, and I'm going to buy that like probably the first day it comes out on Blu-ray just because it looks incredible. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. And then I think maybe next sale like November, I'm going to work on my David Lynch collection. Um, but moving on here, that's pretty much all on my list. I have not gone to BNN yet, like I said, so hopefully my BNN will have all of the Wes Anderson films.
Yeah.
So Drew, you have been collecting for a while, so I'm going to start with you. What are some recommendations that you would give to our listeners? Movies that you dig in the collection, that you like to talk about, that you like to watch, and you would highly recommend to other people.
Okay, so yeah, I feel like I got a pretty good list of just like everything in between. I feel like someone I like as no matter what you like, I feel like you'll at least like one of these kind of type thing. So starting off strong, I feel like I highly suggest getting the Before trilogy, just because it is a trilogy, and I just it's so good. It's so amazing. It's effortless. It's the one of the best like screenplays ever, in my opinion, just because of how flawlessly it feels. But and since it is a trilogy, a little box set, it's going to be way cheaper on the half off. You know, it's like you're kind of saving a lot. I think it's usually almost $100, and now it's only like 50. So big difference there. And then other than that, I'm gonna go with a couple. I got this movie called Takeout. It's by Sean Baker, who did The Florida Project. It's one of his kind of like first movies he did, and it's about this person who's living in New York, and they need to get enough money to pay off a debt they owe, and they're just a delivery guy, and he's on his bike in New York. It's like raining all day. It's just like a in the day of, and it was really really good, and I love the direction, and I highly suggest that. And then anything Terry Gilliam, I mean, the dude can do no wrong in my eyes, and he has a decent amount of movies with Criterion. I'd suggest any of them. Just go look at all of Terry Gilliam, and I'm sure you'll find something you like. And then I think the other one I was gonna do is Blood Simple. It's the very first movie that the Coen brothers did, and it is honestly one of their best movies. I know that might be bold, but it is so good. It's done on a low budget, so they do a lot of really cool tricks, and the bonus material with that criterion in specific is so good. There's so many amazing bonus materials and behind the scenes, and they like tell you how they did certain shots and like the tricks they did. It's so cool to get to go behind the scenes and see that like true movie magic. You know, they didn't have a bunch of money for CGI and anything. They had to make it all practical, and I just love that shit. And then last one I'm gonna do is called Afterlife. This movie is amazing. It is a foreign movie, so you'll have to read, but that's okay. It is about so it's basically about like purgatory in a way. It's like you die and you go in, and they basically are like you can choose one memory to take with you into the afterlife. And they stay at this place for like 5 days, for like or 7 days, and tell them they choose a memory, and then these people that work at this place, they recreate the memory using like making a movie of it, like using film and stuff. They recreate that memory, and then they show it to the person once it's done, and then that person, after they see it, goes into the afterlife. So it's kind of about that whole process and what goes on, and there's a couple of characters that are in there, and I don't want to give anything else away, but it was amazing. It was beautiful. It was so well directed. I could not get enough of it. But yeah, those are like my like top 4 or 5 movies that I highly suggest, and that they're good criterions as well.
Very nice, very nice. Yeah, you got some really good ones in there, man. I'm actually probably when I'm listening back to this and editing, I'm gonna be like writing these down and adding them to my
Yeah, man,
own
I'm like,
list.
yeah, that's such an interesting question. If you could only take like one memory,
Yeah.
what would that be?
It's a really cool concept.
Yeah.
That is
So
neat.
yeah, no, that is definitely one that I want to check out. Um, so if you guys are really in uh um Cary Grant or kind of black and white movies, and you like comedies, then Arsenic and Old Lace is a hilarious comedy. It's from 1945, and it is a murder mystery slash just like a gigantic like misunderstanding between like 10 different characters, and it is it's one of the very first black and white films I watched completely, and especially with like a comedy. Like I had no idea like um how that was going to like impact me, because I very much like more of the like kind of current sort of Judd Apatow type of comedy. This movie is great, and the comedy keeps up with today's time. It is absolutely incredible. And then the one other film that I want to recommend is Boyhood, which was the only Criterion that I had owned for a long time. But just what a great movie! It took them 12 years to create it, and it's basically just the story of a kid growing up. But instead of casting a ton of kids to play one character, they only casted this one kid, and then they just recorded the movie piece by piece. I think they met for like 2 weeks every June just to record for 12 years until he grew up. And
Wow.
it's one of my top 20. And yeah, so those are the two films I would say, if you get a chance, go and pick them up.
I assume that when you picked up Boyhood in the first place, you picked it up just because you liked the movie and not necessarily
Hmm.
because you were seeking out a Criterion, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
Drew, on that topic, what was your first Criterion that you ever purchased, if you remember?
Pretty sure it was Bottle Rocket by Wes Anderson. I wanted to see his very first movie, and I couldn't really find the physical media that I liked. So kind of like Taya, I kind of just got it because I wanted Bottle Rocket, and I couldn't find it anywhere else really. And so yeah.
It's kind of similar for me. Like years ago, I was trying to find all of Kevin Smith's filmography, and I found a copy of Chasing Amy on Criterion in a secondhand movie store down in Tennessee somewhere, and it was like $2. Like I had no idea what the Criterion collection even was at all, and
Huh.
so I pick it up, and then years later, I'm like learning about like the Criterion collection and stuff, and learning about boutique labels and everything, and I'm like, that logo looks familiar. And I look in my collection, I'm like, oh, I've already got one of these. I'm already on a good path to start. Cool. All right, so I do have a list of recommendations here myself. Before I do that, Drew, I wanted to tell you. So one of your on your list was Paris, Texas, from Wim Wenders. Wim Wenders made another really great movie. Paris, Texas is pretty good. I hear. I've never seen it, but he made a movie called Wings of Desire. Have you ever heard of it?
Mhm. No, I haven't actually. I think the only time I've heard it is when you mentioned it. I think you mentioned it last time.
Okay. I'll just briefly kind of go over what it is. It's about like this angel who like admires humanity so much. Like in this world, like angels like walk amongst humanity, but like humanity can't see them. They're like there, like guarding and protecting and all this. And he admires humanity so much that he wants to be a human. And so the whole story is him struggling with that and everything. And it's a German film, and it's just a wonderful movie. I highly recommend that to anybody who likes Wim Wenders and hasn't seen that one yet. So I've got my stack here. First up is a movie from Alex Cox called Sid and Nancy. And what Sid and Nancy is about is Sid Vicious from the Sex Pistols. It's kind of a biopic of his like coming into fame and his downfall leading up to his death, and the death of Nancy as well. It's a very interesting film. Sid Vicious is played by Gary Oldman, and it's just a wild movie.
Hmm.
Next is Grand Budapest Hotel from Wes Anderson. I don't think much else needs to be stated about old Wes Anderson.
Huh.
Next is one that I actually watched last night, and it's Double Indemnity. This was a very interesting, intriguing, and suspenseful noir film from, I believe, when was this, 1944, old black and white, and it's about like this woman who wants to kill her husband, and so she seduces this life insurance salesman into taking out a policy on her husband without him knowing, and then convinces him to kill her husband for her. um,
Oh.
After that, I think I put this on my letterbox review too. After that, made me not want to joke with my wife about taking life insurance policies out on each other anymore.
No.
Next up is one of my most highly recommended, and it's called Ghost World, and it's starring Thora Birch, who played the little sister in Hocus Pocus, also a very young Scarlett Johansson and Steve Buscemi. And this is
Ooh.
to me, it's a really, really good, like, it's one of those movies about the really awkward time for teenagers, with like between when they get out of high school and between that and when they're going to college or trying to start like take those steps to get into the real world. It's an awkward movie for sure, but it's so good and it's so fun to watch. Um, the next is one that Teo has on his list, and it's The Seventh Seal. Drew, have you ever seen this?
No, I have not.
So it's Bergman. I know you know who Bergman is.
Oh
Ingmar
yeah.
Bergman. This, in my opinion, is one of the most culturally important films that's ever been made. It's one of the,
Okay.
like, if you look at it, like analyze the film, the way that it was written, and the everything from the cinematography to the acting, I think it's probably one of, if not the most perfect movies ever made. And this is coming from somebody who doesn't like, for lack of a better word, I don't suck Bergman's dick. So,
Yeah.
like, I don't think that Bergman is the end all be all of foreign cinema, but I
Right.
think
Yeah.
that this movie in particular might be. I mean, and Bergman's made some great movies like Wild Strawberries and stuff. And Drew, you had stated you like Persona to me before, and
Hmm.
and Seven Seal is one of those that is just so incredibly powerful and impactful. I highly recommend this to anybody. And the thing that I love about it is it's a religious message without it being a religious message. Like it doesn't come off as sacrilegious or anything like that. It's just like it's just there. Like it's a religious
Hmm.
undertone, but it's like it's guised in the fact that this is life and these are problems that we all deal with, and I really love that. This next one is one that Teo actually picked up himself, and it's Mulholland Drive from David Lynch. As I stated previously, I kind of want to start building up my Lynch collection a little more, maybe next November for the next Criterion sale. I do very much so enjoy David Lynch. He is very weird, and a lot of his movies take more than one viewing to kind of understand. Have you ever seen this, Drew?
No, I've seen Lost Highway though, and Lost Highway was wild.
Lost Highway and Inland Empire are both on my list, and also there's like this documentary about David Lynch that's in the collection as well, and then Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me, which I'm a big
Mhm.
Twin Peaks fan. I love the show. Um, those are the ones I'm missing. But I have this one, Blue Velvet, Eraserhead, and the Elephant Man in my own personal collection. I believe personally the Elephant Man is probably his most accessible and probably one of his best. It's not as weird and wild and out there as it is. It's not as weird and wild and out there as some of the others.
Yeah.
But it's good. But Mulholland Drive is wild. And then lastly, I have Jim Jarmusch's Down by Law, and some of y'all listening along, if you follow me on TikTok, might know that I'm running a little giveaway on this for hitting 1,000 followers on the old Tickety Talk. I'm
Whoop,
giving away
whoop.
a copy of this, and this, in my opinion, I've talked about this. This is one of those movies that it seems like it gets brought up, or I subconsciously bring it up every chance I get, because in my opinion, it's one of my favorite movies of all time. It is my favorite like prison break movie. Um, we talked about this, like Drew and Zed and I talked about this on an episode previously about how like the top prison break movies like Oh Brother Where Art Thou, Shawshank, Cool Hand Luke, stuff like that. I think that Down by Law doesn't get enough flowers, and I think that that's probably my mission in life with this podcast is to give Down by Law and Jim Jarmusch and Tom Waits their flowers. So, yeah,
Oh yeah.
that's my biggest recommendations. I think that altogether we have a lot of crossover here, but I feel like we are uh, all in agreement that pretty much the films that we all kind of want to see are all really great films. I think that's and I think that that says a lot about the Criterion Collection. That is that we all have found so many movies um, in this from this boutique label that they have released. I mean, and that to me, that the Criterion Collection is a boutique label that they have this mission to bring out films that are culturally and socially important to the world, and I think they do a really great job of that. And because of that, they're one of my all-time favorite um, boutique labels. I kind of feel like there's like tiers to boutique labels. If you guys agree with me, there's like, and it's not like one tier is better than another. They're just different. It's like you have like culturally important films being collected by like Criterion and Kino, and then you have schlock being collected by like Arrow and Blue Underground and Vinegar Syndrome. And they're all great films, but they're all, I mean, I don't know. Some of the films that Vinegar Syndrome has are not that great. Drew, we should do an episode on Vincent one day.
Oh, we can. I only have 3, and I don't know if I'll be going back for more. I might. They were fun, but they're out there, man.
It's like I've always said, Vincent's like having beer goggles on. They bring you in with all these nice packagings and everything for a really shitty movie. So
yeah, dude, that packaging though is top tier. It is some amazing packaging.
Yeah, it kind of makes me wonder what the hell Criterion's doing. It's like if if Showgirls can get this amazing BSU edition with this hard box magnetic box case and amazing slipcover, why does Citizen Kane get this super weird, funky packaging?
Yeah. But I will say the I only have one like box set really that's like really big. I have the Wong Kar-wai box set, and I wish that would I like how it's packaged. It's cool and it's like pretty, but I do wish I don't know. It's one of those things where you put the disc in like cardboard, like a cardboard slot. It doesn't have like a thing. I don't know if I really enjoy that. I feel like it's gonna damn near scratch my disc, but so maybe they do need to work on their box sets.
So this is a bit like off topic, but I'm just kind of curious. If you guys could choose one movie to get like the coolest box set with all of the like bells and whistles, like which one would you pick?
Oh wow! Okay.
That's a. I'm gonna have to put an edit here while we all think about.
Yeah, I actually low key got one.
Let's hear it.
I would want a Spielberg box set. I think that would be fire. I think I want his very first movie in it, Duel. I just picked that up recently and I haven't watched it yet. I've been dying to watch it, so I'm excited. But put in Duel, put in like Close Encounters, Jurassic Park, E.T., just all of the bangers, man, and give me cool art for all of them. Like give me different art that's not like the same art that we've seen for the last 50 years. Give me some different stuff. And on the box set, it could be all this art of all the movies, like kind of collaging into one type stuff. I would love a Spielberg box set. I love Spielberg.
That would be fantastic.
Can you narrow it down to like one movie out of like Spielberg's filmography that you would like? If they came to you and said, "That's a great idea, Drew, but you're only getting one."
Oh, it would, dude. It'd be between Close Encounters and E.T.
I haven't seen. I'm
more of a sci-fi guy, so his sci-fi work is amazing to me. Close Encounters is amazing. I think it's one of, I'm not going to say it created because that didn't, but I think that whole spectacle, the idea of building up to this huge thing and just letting this like crazy thing that's happening in front of you just take over. I feel like he really taps into that and like makes it really special. And he does it in Jurassic Park too, and he does it in so many of his movies, but especially Close Encounters. That ending is so good when you see that spaceship and they're like talking to the ship, and it's just crazy. Like I could not imagine seeing that when it came out and being in theaters, and because looked really good, and I don't know how much of it was CGI, was like practical effects slash green screen slash whatnot, but I mean, it looked so good. I'm pretty sure it was made in the '70s, so it has to be all practical effects, but it's amazing. Yeah, I probably do. I don't know. I have so many versions of ET. I want to say Close Encounters, but like if they did an ET one, I would get it. So probably ET, I guess.
There's like some boutique label that we were talking about it with Rigo the other night. I think it was like Film Arena or something like that, and they do like these really amazing like box sets and stuff. And I think they do like these bust editions where it's like a bust of like the main character's head or like upper torso and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, could you imagine a bust edition of like ET?
Phenomenal.
That would
be amazing.
That would be incredible,
I'd
dude.
put it in the middle of my living room.
I don't know what I would choose. Like, so like my top 3 movies are Big Lebowski, Scarface, and The Blues Brothers. So I think that I would probably choose Blues Brothers or Big Lebowski. And if they give me the Big Lebowski and it's got a full size rug in it, I'm buying it. I'm buying the dude's rug with Big Lebowski on 4K, man.
Just needs the rug, man.
Yeah, it better come. It better come with a couple J's too.
Hell yeah. The whole box set, please.
There is one that I have been like, they gotta release like a steelbook or like a collector's package, and for years and years they've only released it on like Blu-ray, but Titanic. I would kill for freaking like super deluxe Titanic like book of like the hard cardboard pages, or you could make the box be like a part of the like boat, and then to get into the disc you would need to like split it, like there's just like a ton of stuff that I think like a freaking Titanic box set would be awesome.
Yeah, that's a good choice, man.
Yeah, it needs to be like that, like a full like scale model of the actual ship, and then it breaks in half, and then that'd be amazing. I would buy that. I would buy that for sure, bro.
You son of a bitch.
I'm leaving that in. I was recording. I'm leaving that in, Teo. Y'all hear that? Mateo's not the heartfelt good Catholic boy we all thought he was.
Who is Mateo?
All right, I want to talk about Arrow because Arrow is also running their Camp Arrow sale that they always do every July to directly compete with Criterion. Let's be honest, that's what they're doing. I'm going to let Teo go first because his time is a little more limited tonight. So let's talk about Teo. What do you have in your collection? What do you recommend? And what are you planning to pick up in the future?
Okay, so I am also relatively new to collecting Arrow, and the only 2 films I have are from the John Hughes collection, and they are Weird Science and 16 Candles.
2 very good films.
Oh yeah, and I will say about like a month and a half ago, for some reason, like I just went on like a John Hughes kick, and I watched 16 Candles, Weird Science, Breakfast Club, Pretty in Pink, Better Off Dead, just like the like you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
But in terms of stuff that I want to pick up, so I just found out, and I have apparently been pronouncing this incorrectly. Gamera, which is like a giant. It was basically made to compete with Godzilla, but it is a giant turtle that can turn into like a jetpack and like do all this stuff. But they have 2 like Arrow box sets because there were 2 different periods whenever Gamera films were being created, but they did those 2 they did the 2 boxes where when you combine them it makes like one big picture. So I definitely want to pick up those two by the end of July, and then just to go through what else is on my list. Um, Trimmers, which I have been wanting to pick
Ooh.
up.
Mhm.
I think
Mhm.
that the original Trimmers is incredible.
Yes.
Django, which is not Django Unchained, but like the 1970s Django.
Mhm.
The American Werewolf in London, uh, uh, Donnie Darko, which I have never checked out, but I've been like wanting to. To the point that I am committed to just go out and purchase it. Pitch Black, 12 Monkeys, Mall Rats, which they just came out with the new 4K. Ringu, which is the original Japanese version of the Ring.
Those just got announced for
And
4K through Arrow too.
yeah. And last but not least, the Wizard of Gore, which I only know about that film because there's a clip in the movie Juno where Juno and Jason Bateman's character are watching it, and Juno is in my top 20, if not my top 10. So I would love to actually watch that film within its in entirety just because of its ties to a movie that I care like very deeply about.
Very nice. Yeah, you got some great ones in there. The Ringu trilogy is great, and the Wizard of Gore is always a fun one. Herschel Gordon Lewis. Those are great, schlocky, smutty movies. Um, yeah, a lot of those are really good that you got in there. Between 16 Candles and Weird Science, what's your favorite?
Just between those two, I think 16 Candles. There is
Mhm.
and granted, there's a couple things in that movie that in today's time did not like age correctly. But I am a very big believer in preserving those types of movies so that we can track how much progress, you know what I mean,
Hmm.
Yeah.
we have made. I think, and I think you and me were actually talking about this, but how Disney will kind of go back and kind of change stuff. They'll like take out clips, or they'll
Yeah.
kind of and and to me, like, it is important to remember how much we have grown, and to not pretend that it has always been, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
the way that it is. But with that pushed aside, the tone of being a teenager that 16 Candles captures is perfect, and it is timeless. And there's a lot in that film that me in my mid 20s that I'm still like, no, like, I still have different experiences in my life that I can very much relate to a couple of these characters, you know what I mean, and like whatnot. So
It's kind of the
Yeah.
great things about kind of the great thing about John Hughes too is like his films can be on either spectrum from reality based and relatable to cartoony. Like
oh yeah.
Mhm.
films like Breakfast Club and Pretty in Pink and 16 Candles all are totally plausible situations and situations that teenagers still deal with to this day.
Hmm.
And then you got a movie like Ferris Bueller where they seriously
Yeah.
believe, that they could drive a car in reverse and take the mileage off, and which I mean, I guess that is a kind of a very teenagery thing to believe, but just the whole,
Yeah.
the whole, the whole.
Makes sense to me.
Drew's sitting over here like this is brand new information.
Yeah.
He's like, shit, I did that to
There,
my dad's car when I was a teenager.
Yeah. Take it back now,
there is.
y'all.
I do want to look up if Better Off Dead was directed by John Hughes or produced. I don't think it was, but in a lot of ways, that film has a very much a John Hughesy type of tone
There's a lot of
two and
those
two.
movies from the 80s that have that kind of tone. Movies like Can't Buy Me Love, which Criterion actually just
Yeah.
released as well.
Oh
That
yeah.
has a very Say Anything with John Cusack.
Yeah. Yeah.
They all kind of have that teeny bopper 80s overtone that
Right.
Hughes portrayed really well in those movies. Yeah, I adore John Hughes, man. I wish that either Arrow would get the rights to release Breakfast Club in 4K or Criterion. I wouldn't be surprised if Criterion's already working on it, to be honest with you. Especially like, and here's the thing too about like, Weird Science just got released in 4K last month, I believe, through Arrow. And 16 Candles has got a 4K scan on the Blu-ray. So I'm sure that 16 Candles is coming down the line. And I believe that Breakfast
Oh yeah.
Club through Criterion was a 4K scan as well. So I would not be surprised if if Criterion releases Breakfast Club, or if they don't have the rights, I wouldn't be surprised if Arrow swooped them or Kino Lorber swooped them.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, man, trust me. Whenever 16 Candles and Breakfast Club gets a 4K release, I'm just gonna go up to him like, "What's happening? Hot stuff."
Take my money.
Take it all. Shut up and take my money. I want Breakfast
Yes.
Club in 4K so bad. So much so that I don't even own the Criterion edition of it, and that's one of my favorite movies. Because
Oh,
I
really?
already have a separate Blu-ray edition. It's like the Universal 100
Yeah.
years. No, it's not 100 years, but it's like 90 years or something of Universal Blu-ray, and came out a long time
Mm.
ago. And it's got
Okay.
a really
Yeah.
ugly slipcover, and but I'm like, I don't want to buy the Criterion because I know that as soon as I do, it'll go to 4K.
Yep. 4K.
Did you ever see the Breakfast Club Steelbook?
No, I have not.
Oh, okay. Wait.
Oh, he's got it. He's got it.
You got it. You're about to see it.
It's blurry.
Oh wow.
Oh, it's a locker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That is cool.
Is
I
that
like
is that is that Bender's locker? It's a little bit grainy. Is that Bender's locker?
I don't
Say
think
like,
it really specifies.
oh, I was gonna say, if it says you open this, you die, then it's Bender's locker.
Is
Yeah.
that on the like inside? I actually do not know. I haven't opened this since I purchased it.
That reminds me of the Grease set that I bought from
Uh-huh.
Paramount. It's a Grease steel book with Grease 1, Grease 2, and Grease Live.
Yeah.
Is also a locker, but it's pink.
Yeah.
It's Pink Locker, yeah.
It's a very cool steel book. Let's move on to Drew. Teo, if you got to go, I understand. If not, if you want to stick around, that's fine too. And if you run out of time, just type in chat bye and leave a call.
I probably will take off just because I don't want to be rude. But I will be tuning into this podcast because I do want to hear the continuating of what you guys talk about.
You better be tuning into every podcast, Mateo.
Every single one. I don't get out of bed without the Masters of Name.
And then there were two because Daddy Teo walked out for cigarettes and didn't come back.
Never coming back.
Yeah.
I think we needed milk too, so
Yeah. The cigarettes
Good
are
luck
one
with
thing
that.
that keeps him away for like 10 years, but the milk is like an extra 20 years to keep him away.
Yeah.
He's gonna
Yep.
he's gonna come back into our lives in 30 years as an alcoholic and begging for money.
Begging for money, yep. That's
All
what
right.
we're good for.
Drew, I want to know what's in your Arrow collection, and what do you have on your list to pick up, and if you've already ordered any, what are those, and what do you recommend, my friend?
All right, so I am pretty new to Arrow. I only have 5, and I'm definitely I got some more on the way. Actually, I partook in this sale. So the ones that I own is the Last Starfighter, which I haven't seen yet, but I've heard amazing things, and it sounds right up my alley. So I'm gonna watch that here soon. Then I got 12 Monkeys, which is a Gilliam, so I was super happy to snag that. And I think I got on the 4K transfer, and it looks amazing. And then I got the American Werewolf in London, and I haven't seen this since I was in high school, so it's been some time now. So I'm excited to check this one out again and see if it holds up from what I remember. And then I got Flatliners, which I highly suggest. Joel Schumacher is amazing, and this movie is amazing, and it has Kiefer Sutherland, and I loved Mr. Sutherland. So, and the Flatliners itself, like the story is just wild. It's just it's crazy. And it has that like gritty late like mid 90s feel to it, kind of like Matrix in a way. Like not about what it's about, but how it looks. And then the last one I got is the 4K of Old Boy. And it Old Boy is amazing. It's so good. And that is also the 4K transfer, and it looks really good. It was definitely worth it. I highly recommend that movie if you haven't seen it, or if you've been kind of waiting to watch it. It's been on your watch list. Take it to the top because it was an amazing ride.
Old Boy is on
And
my list for sure. I love like the Asian extreme movies, like the really
Mhm.
nasty ones. Like I'm a big Takashi Miike fan. And he does like Ichi the Killer and stuff like that, and they're like
Okay.
super gory fest Asian films.
Yeah.
And I hear Old Boy is like up there with Ichi, and so I that's been on my list for Arrow for a while. So
Yeah, it was so good, and the twist at the end is the twistiest twist that's ever twist.
oh,
Um, yeah, it's the good stuff. And then the ones that I have on the way that I got in the sale is talking about double dipping. I double dipped, and I'm getting the 12 Monkeys limited edition steelbook that they had. I'm a steelbook connoisseur now at this point. I've gotten so many in the last couple months. It's crazy, but I saw that they had this. Didn't even know they had steelbooks, and they was part of the sale. So I said, why not? I'm a double dip. And then I got The Hills Have Eyes in 4K. I was super excited to see that this had a 4K transfer, and this is the horror movie when I watched when I was a kid that made me not watch a horror movie until I was 12 or 14 or some shit. Like I watched this when I was like 9, and I did not watch another horror movie until I was like 12 years old because it scarred me so bad. Like it was terrifying. Wes Craven is crazy, man. I mean, that was made in like the early 70s or mid 70s or something like that, right? Do you
I
know?
believe it was made after Texas Chainsaw, so like 1975 or 76.
Okay, yeah, because dude, it's good. It's good stuff. So I'm excited to get that. And then I got a blind buy, which is usually what I like to do with like Arrow or a Vinegar Syndrome. Is I just went on their things and I just clicked on stuff that caught my eye and I saw what it was about and I would buy it or not. So this is kind of a blind buy, but it sounded it sounded like so much fun. I couldn't resist. It's called Dead End Drive-In. Have you ever heard of it? No. So it is about like it's like in a future society type shit, and everyone that's like bad basically that would be like a thief or whatnot, and or like doesn't have a job. I think maybe is what it said. They like are stuck at this drive-in, and they play movies like nonstop, but you can't leave. And it's about this person that gets put in there and he wants out. So it's about him trying to get out of this drive-in.
Like,
And I am
welcome
super
to the drive-in, California.
yeah, dude. So I don't know. And I love the name too, Dead End Drive-In. That's great. So I blind buy that, and the cover art looks sick, and the movie sounds like so much fun. I think this was I'm gonna look it up so I don't say, but I think it said 90s, and I love me some 90s.
That sounds
Dead End
amazing.
Drive-In. Oh no, it's a little before the 90s, 86. But it looks creepy as all hell, and it looks like a fun, great time. So I'm excited to get those, and then I'm excited to get more Arrow. I feel like I'm sleeping on Arrow. I was looking at that Mallrats too. I didn't pull trigger on it, but sale's not over yet. So
Okay, so the thing about Mallrats is it's not actually part of the Camp Arrow sale. Where that was a June title,
oh, okay.
it's still on
Okay.
sale, like pre-order sale. Let me ask you this: uh do you have a dedicated 4K player, or do you play your 4Ks in your PS5?
I have a dedicated 4K player.
Can it do Dolby Vision?
I believe so. Yes. Yes.
Okay, so my biggest issue with Mallrats is that the HDR on it, though it looks okay, Um,
Yeah.
I can't do Dolby Vision because I use a PS5. Um,
Oh, okay.
so the HDR looks fine, but the thing is, Mallrats is a super, super 90s movie with a lot of really vibrant colors, like a lot of neon and a lot of
Yeah.
blue, like light blues and green and stuff like that. And with HDR, like regular HDR10 on that disc, those colors lose a lot of vibrancy. That was my
Mhm.
biggest complaint, is that the HDR is not on point. But I hear that if you have Dolby Vision, it like rectifies that, and the Dolby Vision is incredible.
Ah,
So
okay.
that was actually the disc that really kind of made me realize what I'm missing out on with with not having a like access to Dolby Vision. So
Yep.
I have been looking lately about maybe looking to try to get my hands on a dedicated player with Dolby Vision. Probably won't be able to do that for a while, but I, I'm wondering like
I
if that disc looks, I mean, it doesn't like it, let me rephrase, it did not look bad on
Right.
HDR10, but
Right,
if it
yeah.
supposedly looks so much better in Dolby Vision, I'm wondering what else I've just been looking at and be like in HDR10 and been like, man, this looks great. I'm wondering
Yeah.
what else I'm missing out with Dolby Vision.
I would check out because it's Prime, like you said. They might have a 4K player that's like way cheaper than it usually is.
They
So
do, but they're still like the ones with Dolby Vision are still like $350, and I just can't swing that right now.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But yeah, man, those are some great picks. I do like the Mallrats disc a lot. I really want to get Old Boy myself, like I said, and now I'm going to add that Dead End Drive-In movie
Yes.
to my list because that looks incredible. I'm going to go over some of my collection right now about what I already have that I would recommend. The first thing up is this movie. It's called Yakuza Law, and this is kind of like an anthology series about the Yakuza through different periods of time, like all the way back, like in
Ooh.
the like 1800s, all the way up to more modern day, which I think this was made in the 80s. So it's like as modern as that is. Let me
Uh-huh.
see, is there a year on this? I don't see a year on this, but it's a cheesy practical effects gore movie. Like there's a lot of great practical gore in it, and it's just a really cool one of those extreme Asian cinema movies that I love. Next up is one that Mateo recommended, and it's Weird Science. I have not spun the 4K. I only own the Blu-ray, but the Blu-ray looks amazing. So hopefully they didn't fuck it up too bad with their 4K.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, Weird Science definitely. I'm not gonna harp on that one too much, just because we already discussed it. Next up is, if you want to get this one, you're actually going to have to import it or get it from Diabolic or Orbit DVD. That's Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas from Arrow in
Ooh.
4K. This is one of the best 4K discs, in my opinion, that have released this year so far. It blow like even with HDR10, this movie is beautiful. The Vegas in general, especially it's portraying Vegas in the 70s, so it's a lot of red and orange like neon light stuff, and and HDR. Everybody talks about how blues and stuff look great with HDR, but this is a movie that I feel like makes orange and red look really incredible. um,
Mhm.
and just in general, the transfer for this is far superior to the Criterion transfer, in my opinion. um, then I have my favorite movie, one of my favorite top five favorite movies of all time, and it's my favorite film from Arrow. It's Donnie Darko.
Oh, hell yeah.
This great box set is on sale for $40 on the sale. Drew, if you don't own Donnie Darko, this is the biggest disc I recommend from Arrow, because you get you get the 4K disc, and then you also get this hardback book. Like you could chuck this at a
Oh,
man's head and kill them with it. And you also get a poster for Donnie Darko as well. Plus, there's all sorts of different bonus features and stuff on it. Like, and it comes with two cuts of the film: the theatrical and the director's cut from Richard Kelly.
nice. I
Um,
love that.
Everything in it is director approved, and yeah, it's an incredible buy. Um, and then this is one that Teo was talking about. This is, I've only got the Blu-ray, but American Werewolf in London, this great box set.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know if the 4K box set with the booklet and all that is still available or not, but if it is, go get that one, because the booklet's really great. The poster's awesome. Um, it's got a poster with the original cut, like the original theatrical poster on it, and the reverse side is this amazing artwork from the that Arrow commissioned. And yeah, I absolutely love this movie, and the Arrow Blu-ray is incredible. I can only imagine that the Arrow 4K is even better. And the last up is the Herschel Gordon Lewis Feast box set. Mateo had mentioned that he wanted to get The Wizard of Gore, and that is included in this box set. It collects 12 films from Herschel Gordon Lewis. It's got Blood Feast, Scum of the Earth, 2000 Maniacs, which 2000 Maniacs was probably my favorite one I saw in this. Moonshine Mountain, Color Me Blood Red, Something Weird, The Gruesome Twosome, A Taste of Blood, She Devils on Wheels, Just for the Hell of It, How to Make a Doll, The Wizard of Gore, This Stuff Will Kill Ya, and The Gore Gore Girls. And H.G. Lewis is one of those 19 like late 1960s, early 1970s schlock artists who just delivered shock pictures to the world, and they were the kind of movies that played like in like dollar theaters and in New York City, like down on uh, like Seventh Avenue, back when there was like a bunch of pornos and stuff playing in there. It was like it's like half the theaters were playing porno, the other half were playing these kind of movies, and
Yeah.
they're really 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 great. They're really great cheesy practical effects, and they're not even so cheesy when you look at them through the lens of the 1960s and 70s when they were made. And
Mhm.
H.G. Lewis in particular was really a filmmaker that paved the way for guys like Toby Hooper when he made Texas Chainsaw, and then in
Mhm.
turn Carpenter when he made Halloween and stuff like that. So and Craven when he made The Hills Have Eyes.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, I recommend that. As far as the ones that I'm going to pick up, I want to get. I don't think I'm going to be able to get them this time. Although looking at this, I really want to get it because it's such a good price.
Yeah.
I have the the website pulled up here. Um, the Vengeance Trails 4 Classic Westerns Blu-ray.
Oh, I
Um,
was looking at that.
yeah, so this collects 4 different films, and the reason that I want this so bad is because one of the films is from one of my favorite Italian directors, and these are all spaghetti westerns, by the way, which you and I were
Okay,
having a
yeah.
conversation about the other day. Um,
Yeah.
One of them is by Lucio Fulci, who is a master of Italian horror, and he made a western. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, it's called Massacre Time. So it's got
Okay.
Massacre Time. My Name is Picos Bandidos, and God Said to Cain. Those are the 4 films that it comes with, and the directors are Lucio Fulci, Maurizio Lucidi. I'm gonna butcher all these names. I'm gonna get canceled for butchering all these names. Massimo Dallamano and Antonio Margheriti. I think I pronounced those right. I know I pronounced Lucio Fulci right, though. At least how
There you go.
Americans pronounce it. Um, so yeah, that's one of the biggest ones that I am wanting to order. Although again, I don't think I'm going to be able to grab it as well with all the Criterions that I want to get from Wes Anderson. Um,
Yeah.
I
Gotta pick and
really,
choose.
yeah, I really, really love this Cold War Creatures box set. The 4 films from uh, Sam Katzman. It comes with Creature with the Atom Brain, The Werewolf, Zombies of Mora. I can't pronounce that. What is that? Moratal. I can't see it hardly. And the Giant Claw. Um, these, yeah, Moratau. Moratau. These are really good, like 1960s type monster movies. Let's see. I had a couple here. From this is a really good deal. Creep Show 2 is on sale. The Blu-ray's on sale for $17. Um and Hell High. Hell High.
Okay.
Let me see what that's on sale for. Probably 20. Yeah, it's on sale for 20. It's a slasher flick about like a class of it's like class of 1984 meets Spit on Your Grave. I Spit on Your Grave from what this is saying. It's like a slasher movie in a high school, and
Okay.
and then as far like I do actually have one ordered, but it's not from the sale because I pre-ordered it, and it's been delayed. And I'm hoping that by saying this, some of you are going to hardcore relate with me because I'm hoping that I'm not the only one who's been delayed, and that is the Empire of Screams Blu-ray box set,
Wow.
the Enter the Video Store Blu-ray box set. I
Uh-huh.
wasn't gonna get it originally, but it was $80. It was normally $100, and I just knew that if I didn't pre-order it, I would not be able to get my hands on it. And now it's looking like people who
Mhm.
even pre-ordered it are not going to be able to get their hands on it. So
No.
so it's already going on sale like on eBay for like 150.
No
And
way.
yeah, and it's only been out for a
Man.
couple weeks. So it's 3 weeks delayed now, and I've gotten an email every week from Arrow saying, "Hey, we're terribly sorry that this has been delayed. We're working as hard as we can to get it back in stock to get it to you and stuff." And I'm
Right.
just like, at this point, I'm like, if they cancel it, that's gonna suck. I'm gonna be bummed, but I understand. I wish that they hadn't oversold it in that case. But if it comes to me, then awesome, great, wonderful. But if they cancel it, then I guess it just wasn't meant to be because I'm not gonna pay that much for for that. This was 100%
Right.
one of those
Yeah.
buys where it's like I'm one that preaches a lot about FOMO. Don't let FOMO win. And this is one that
Mhm.
FOMO got me hardcore because I've never seen any of these movies. It just looked like such an amazing set that I had to have it.
Yeah.
But
That's kind of wild that they can't even meet the pre-orders, though. That's a little crazy.
yeah, dude, I pre-ordered it like 3 or 4 days before they cut the pre-orders. So like
Okay.
I don't know why they kept them up for so long if they had already sold through their
Right.
allotment. So the only thing that I can assume is that they are actively printing more. In which case, that doesn't make me feel too great about the boutique labels. Like if even if it is just a correction because they over pre-ordered it, it's like, well, you're willing to print more of these, it makes them a little less limited, I'm not sure what the print count was on these in the first place, but now I'm thinking there's probably going to be more out there. Um, but who knows, man? Who
Huh.
knows?
Yeah. Well, hopefully you'll get yours, my guy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hopefully. All right. Well, that is, I believe, everything that we wanted to go over with Criterion and Arrow. This was a pretty fun episode to do. It
Yes,
was
sir. Yeah.
a little more structured than what we're used to, but that's because we kind of had in mind what we wanted to talk about and talk about the Criterion collection.
Yeah.
Drew, did you have anything else to add before we wrap her up here?
Oh no, except that I'm already back on Arrow again. Oh, I need to get off of this website, dude. I just found that there's a Django Steelbook and they're pricing it at $10 and it's usually $49.
What?
Yes, bro. The what Teo was talking about, the original Django, they have a steel, it's a 4K Steelbook too. $10. It's in my cart right now.
Oh my god! Oh
I
my
like
god!
I had double checked. I'm pretty sure it's a 4K too. It's like
It's
10
not.
bucks.
It's
Oh,
not.
it's
It's
not.
regular. The reason it's so cheap is because it's only Blu-ray and they do have a 4K out.
Okay.
Yeah, the 4K is $25. That doesn't make sense though, because it's like the Blu-ray still looks $10, but the the regular edition's 17 on Blu-ray.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
That's got to be the cheapest thing on this site right now for the sale.
Yeah, probably.
That is crazy, man. That is crazy.
Yeah, dude, I'll take a $10 steelbook.
All right, ladies and
All
gentlemen,
right, yeah, no.
thank you for joining us in this unfiltered, not too structured, but a little more structured than what we normally do here on Masters of Matinee. Talk about Criterion. I think we got a lot of great recommendations. Hope we helped you all out with with what you would like to buy in these sales and everything. And we probably won't be doing this for every single sale that comes up, but hell, if in a couple years, if maybe our opinions have changed, and maybe we'll revisit
Yeah.
talking about these sales. So thank you guys all for listening. Thank you, Mateo, for coming in, dropping your knowledge, and then stepping out for cigarettes and beer and milk, and probably never coming back.
Never coming back. Yep.
Yeah. Thanks for Drew. Thanks to Drew for like the theme songs from Friends, and he's just always like, "I'll be there for you," unlike Mateo.
Right. I
Yeah.
stayed. Okay, you remember this day.
Yeah, Drew stayed. Zed wasn't even here, but Zed was here the last time that Teo couldn't make it. So this is becoming a running theme, Teo. All right. Thanks for listening. Have a week. Hey, what a great episode that was, man. We love collecting for Criterion and Arrow and love giving all of you our recommendations for these great labels. We'd like to thank everyone who's been listening along. We'd like to remind you to go ahead and follow Masters of Matinee on YouTube, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Apple Podcasts. Special thanks to this week's co-host, Drooby Dooby Movie, who can be found on his TikTok at Drooby Dooby Movie, and Teo the Terminurtle, who can be found on TikTok at Terminurtle. Don't forget that all 4 masters are now on Letterboxd. Come see what kind of movies we've been watching, and be sure to leave a comment and let us know that you listen to the show. Their links can be found in the description. Remember to also follow me on TikTok and YouTube at JT the Talking Head. Thank you guys so much for listening to this awesome collaborative effort of 4 guys who just want to talk about things they love, movies and physical media. Be sure to join us next week and every single week on Blues Day Tuesday. Hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll see you next week.